Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in 2005, Alberta formed the Wetland Policy Project Team to develop a provincial wetland strategy. Well, here we are 4 years later and still waiting for the government to deliver on a promise made to Albertans in the original Water for Life strategy. My questions are to the Minister of the Environment. Thousands of hectares of wetlands continue to be destroyed in the absence of any policy. Can the Minister tell us just how long we will have to wait for the government to come through on this?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, member is absolutely correct that this process of development of a wetlands policy has been the subject of much discussion over a considerable period of time. But the answer to her question, Mr. Speaker, is a difficult one to give, simply because this is such a critical issue. This is a very complicated issue. There are a number of considerations that have to be taken into account. I am in receipt of a report from the Water Council, and we're giving it a due consideration, and I'll be coming forward very briefly.
The Honourable Member.
To the same Minister, Mr. Speaker. Given that over 90% of the respondents in the wetland policy workshops overwhelmingly supported maintaining and even increasing wetland area and function in Alberta, will the government policy reflect this desire for even increasing wetland area and function?
The Honourable Minister.
I'm not going to get into a situation where I'm now speculating on what decisions are or are not going to be made by my colleagues. I know what recommendations I'm prepared to take forward, but there is a process that needs to be dealt with through the regular channels of policy adoption within government, within cabinet and caucus, and until all of that process is complete, it would be I think irresponsible on my part to try and predict what the outcomes are going to be.
The Honourable Member.
With due respect, we need you to hustle up on that one. To the same Minister, given that there will be a cost to maintaining wetlands in Alberta and most evident in the oil sands region, will the government require industry to bear these costs as part of doing business, or will the taxpayers be on the hook for some of these costs, as has already happened with the reclaiming of orphan wells?
The Honourable Minister.
Well, the analogy is totally inappropriate and doesn't apply at all. Clearly, we have an interim policy that's been in place with respect to wetlands, and it's been applied primarily in southern Alberta, and the costs of that policy are directly borne by the developers, and I don't see any reason why an extension of a wetlands policy across the province would be dealt with any other way.
The